the next thing I come home and I told my dad, I'm going to be a model and an actress. And my dad was like, you work in a bar now, and now you're gonna come home and be an actress. And he was like, absolutely not.
One word that describes your 14-year-old self.
Oh, that's easy. Fearless.
Fearless.
I am like the complete opposite now.
Oh,
now I'm
okay.
like super paranoid. I'm like, what's happening? Like, is like the house gonna blow up or what's going on? If I'm going out for dinner with my friends are like, oh, ปวดหัว I'm like, ไปไหน กี่โมง รถติดหรือเปล่า So when I speak with my dad,
You
I'm
switch
like,
to
yeah.
Singlish.
I'm like, okay lah, I tell her to come later, okay? And then you just stay by your phone and you wait for phone call. But hey, you gotta pick up the phone. I am not going to give you money to spoil you, but I will give you love.
At the age of 11, you were diagnosed with dyslexia, right?
Yes, I just remember getting pulled out of class and I would sit with a one-on-one teacher. And at that point I thought, am I crazy or what? A friend of mine introduced me to this temple. She's like, we're gonna go teach these like small samanes to learn English. First of all, I was like, I'm dyslexic. And it was the most fulfilling thing that I could definitely put down in my book of like things I've done in my life.
Osawang.
สวัสดี
สวัสดีครับ I'm so excited for this.
Me too.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I
Great.
literally feel though I have to be really careful that I don't interview you instead of you interviewing
Because
me.
that's what you do on your show.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. And I love your show, by the way.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you can make any conversation fun.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? I
love
love
that.
hearing that because I actually watch yours too.
Ooh, thank
And
you.
It was what we had just discussed previously. It's because there's only that many English podcasts.
I know, right?
So it's really interesting to see what everyone does.
Yeah.
And then
Alex.
Yes.
You.
Me. And I hope there'll be more because
Yeah.
I'll definitely watch it.
I'd hope for more. Yeah. Because there are a lot of English-speaking Thai people. Yeah. And they could do like more. And it's not that complicated to like make a podcast these days.
It's
You just-
not.
Right.
If you just need to learn how to talk.
I know.
Because I talk a lot, so
Yeah.
I'm usually okay in that department.
Yeah.
But English is not your first language,
No, it's not.
and that's why you started it.
Yes, exactly. Because I want to get better at speaking English, and there's only one way. Because we are living in Thailand, there's no the actual need for
Right.
us to speak English, right? So I have to create my own opportunity. So yeah, just make a show out of it, like to serve my own purpose,
That's exactly what I did. So I made a podcast to serve my own purpose.
which is
Which sounds very selfish, which is Let's Be Real with Osawang.
right.
And it was a podcast. It's geared mainly towards motherhood, but it broadens up too. Like I just like talking to really interesting people.
Yeah.
Because if you realize, like in today's society, we're always on our phone. We're always doing things over messaging. You rarely talk to people. So I just feel like, I still like the old-fashioned way of like just normal, good conversation.
Yeah, same here. And I'm sure our conversation today is going to be real and fun.
I'm sure. You
Yeah.
know what? I can't even tell that English is not your first language.
Oh, okay. It
So
is.
you're doing a good job.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I also love hearing that, but I know I'm still very far from great. But we don't need to be great. We just need to use it.
I mean, my written English is horrific. Like my
That's bad, huh?
It's pretty bad. And English is my first language. So I'm not sure if everyone really truly is great at their language. Like especially me, because I mean sometimes we can get into that a lot later, but
Yeah.
I can write an email and then my husband will fact check it and he'll be like, what are you trying to say? And I'm like, well, I was trying to say this. And he's like, can you just use ChatGPT because it's horrific. Like you cannot send this email to our daughter's school. Or I'll spell my daughter's name incorrectly and he'll be like, I can't believe you just did that. So yeah, going back
Spell
to
check
like,
at least.
at least I'm trying.
Okay.
At least I'm trying.
Yes.
That's always my excuse. I try.
Yeah. Can we start with your name? Because a lot of people, me included, always have problem with your name. It's a beautiful name, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But the way it's written or it's like spelled,
Yeah.
it doesn't match the way it's pronounced.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's pronounced in a lot of horrible ways, which
What
maybe
have you
I shouldn't
heard?
even say it
Yeah,
on
what
the
ha-
podcast.
what have you heard?
I mean, I don't even know if I'm allowed to like
Okay.
say it on the podcast, but I think
You
everyone
are.
can understand.
You are.
But it's a Swedish name.
Okay.
So, you know how like the French, they have an accent. So the Swedish also have an accent on their
Okay.
A. So it's actually pronounced O. So my name, ASE, is actually pronounced Åse.
Osa.
Åse.
Osa.
Yeah. Well, Åse.
Osa.
Yeah. Something like that.
Is it okay?
ประมาณนี้แหละ
I'll keep trying.
But nobody can ever pronounce it. So, I mean, there's like now people would just say Osa,
Yeah.
right? Or Asa.
Okay.
But, you know, in Thailand, I feel like people have such long names. So when I first moved here, they were like, what's your name? And I'm like, Osa. And they were like, okay, that's your nickname. What's your full name? And I'm like, oh, right. Because Thai people have like, Yao. Their names
right.
are like so long that I was like, I don't think they could just say Osa. They had to say Osaweng.
Right.
So I was like, that's my full name. Butก็ได้แหละ
No, it's too short. We need at least another syllable.
Osaweng. But it's a Swedish, it's a very Swedish, it's a
Yeah.
very common name.
Oh, really?
In Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have Thai name?
Osaweng. Yeah, Osaweng.
Osa Wang.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. But your friends would call you Osa.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Osa.
Osa.
Yeah, Osa.
Just do it the lazy way.
Well,
like
I think
Osa.
they've learned to, well, people that work closely to me are always like Osa. But I mean, if it's people I've just met, they're like Osaweng.
Osa Wang.
Okay, good eye. It's like my full name.
The whole name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's
alright.
the Chinese name too.
Yeah.
So there's like a long, that's a bit
Okay.
longer.
Yeah.
which
Well,
is
what is your Chinese name?
Wang Huimin.
Wang Huimin.
Wang Huimin.
Ooh.
Wang is my last name. So
Right.
Chinese people always put the last name 1st, Wang,
Yeah.
and then Huimin.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
But that's in Mandarin.
right.
So it's funny because it changes because if you're Cantonese, you would say Wang Waiman.
Ah.
So it's very, depends where, if someone says Wang Huimin, I know straight away they're Mandarin.
Yeah.
If they say Waiman, I'm like, you're Cantonese.
Ah. Okay.
I have a very complicated name.
Yes.
Yeah.
So 4 is the numbers of the languages that you speak. You speak Thai, English, and Swedish and Chinese too.
Yes.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say that I'm like 100% in all of them.
Okay.
Because like พูดภาษาไทยได้ but อ่านไม่ได้ like and I can't read or write
Right.
at all.
Okay.
Swedish I can speak 100% fluent, but my reading is just it's very broken up. But that's because my mom spoke to me in Swedish when I was born, and I never really learned how to read or write. And I still speak Swedish to my mom today.
Okay.
But if you sent me a document in Swedish, I'd be like,
Yeah. I'm sure you get this a lot, but can you like speak something in Swedish for us?
Swedish?
Yeah. Besides, hi, my name is Osa Wang.
Jag är från Singapore. Min mamma är svensk. Min pappa är kines. Och jag har bott i Thailand nu 20 år. Would you like to know what I said?
Hi, I'm from Singapore.
Yes.
And now I live in Thailand, and I used to live in Sweden too.
I said,
Is it something
my
like that?
mom is Swedish and my dad is Chinese.
Okay.
And I've lived in Thailand for about 20 years now.
I see. Okay. So you're based in Thailand, and but you used to live in
Hong Kong.
Hong Kong.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Hong Kong and US. So I moved, I was born and bred in Singapore. Like I've lived there all my life and went to school there. So I guess you would say, I guess I would see my Chinese side of the family more because I grew up in Singapore. So that's obviously where the Mandarin comes in. So lived in Singapore pretty much until I was about 18.
Okay.
And
And
then-
how good is your Mandarin?
还可以啊. It's okay. Like my family does not speak very much English.
Okay.
So my family is from Hainan. And so they speak Hainanese and Mandarin. So they converse in Hainanese and Mandarin. So I had to learn to communicate with them.
Okay.
Which was kind of a disaster when your mom is Swedish and then your dad and then you have your grandma and we have family dinners. Because my mom does not speak Chinese at all.
Okay.
And then my dad doesn't speak Swedish. like
Okay.
at all.
Uh-huh.
And then my grandma doesn't speak English or Swedish.
Right.
So it's always just been like, my mom's like, what did your grandma say? And then I'm translating. And I
Yeah.
think, honestly, I think that's probably where the language skills came about,
Yeah.
was being multilingual, you know, and
Yeah.
just having to communicate.
Yeah, it comes
in-
from a real need, like for your family too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was forced to speak Mandarin with my grandma. And she still doesn't speak English till this day. But so it would, it would be 3 different languages at the dinner table. I learned how to speak Thai as well. So now when I speak to my grandma, I realize that my tones sometimes are so off. Like I could literally say something to my grandma and then at the end I'll go, nah. And then she's like, so it's like, it's a bit hard now to,
Yeah.
I would say my Thai got better and my Mandarin is a bit like Thai, like Mandarin with a Thai accent.
Yeah, but it totally depends on where you live or like what kind of people you have to talk to or stuff.
And how often you're around the language, right?
Yes,
So it's like
yes.
you doing this podcast, like you want to practice your English. And it was the same with me learning Thai. Like I felt that I had to learn it to survive in Thailand.
Right.
Because you can get more if you can speak the language. Like I
Yeah.
realized that I get so much more when I'm able to speak the language.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But you choose to speak English mainly, like entirely on your podcast, right?
Yeah. And I
Because
think it's,
that's the language that you feel most comfortable with.
yeah, correct. Although I do make it a point at home, and I try to speak a lot of Thai with the people I work with as much as I can. Even though like I put pit all the time, I just don't care because I realize that like I'm just gonna laugh with everybody.
Yeah.
So like if they laugh at me, then I need to learn to laugh at myself too. But sometimes I really do try to speak as much Thai until if I'm really stuck, then I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm just trying to say this.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So you started working at a very young age,
Yeah.
like at 14, right?
Yeah.
Like in Singapore.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what did you do? What kind of job did you get? And why did you have to work?
So my family, they're very, well, my dad is very adamant about making a point that you have to work hard. He's in every way, a typical Chinese dad where, time is ticking. Always got to make money, it's a very Chinese thing. But then it was a good balance because my mom is very typical Swedish. She's like more sabai, like take each day as it comes. And my dad's like, no, we're racing to make money.
Yeah.
So, I would be able to get both of each side.
Right.
But my dad was like, on a school holiday, if you want to spend more money than your allowance, then you need to do something.
Yeah.
So it was, go and do something. And so I was like, okay. And I was like, I'm going to show him that I can do something.
Yeah.
So I did. And I was like, I can do this. And I got a job at, actually, I don't even know if that was legal now, but I was, if I think about it, it's like, I think it was like 14 and I probably shouldn't have been working in a restaurant, but I
Okay.
was.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And I was, when you go to the restaurant and somebody seats you at the table, that was me.
Oh, like a host.
Yes.
You're a host. Okay.
At Chili's American restaurant, Chili's. I don't know
see.
if that restaurant is still up,
Okay. So you didn't wait table, but
no, but I
kinda-
would assign people to their table
Okay.
and stuff. And then I realized this is hard work. Even though I was
Really?
like, what do I have to do? I just gotta, bring people to the table. I was like, oh my God, I gotta stand for like, I don't know, like 8 hours,
okay.
and my dad was like, yeah, good. Like, he was like, you want to make money to
Life is
like,
tough.
Yeah.
So
wanna
that'll teach you.
You want to make money to go buy CDs or I don't know, DVDs or whatever it is that you're doing, then
Yeah.
you've got to like, work. And so,
And what did you use your extra money to buy?
I mean, I probably was doing something I probably wasn't supposed to at that age, like every teenager, I don't know, or like spending money on like CDs and
Right,
like,
yeah.
Nirvana CDs or
But that's
something. I don't know.
normal. Yeah, that's normal for
Yeah,
kids, right?
I could always find a way to spend money. It's just whether or not I'm spending it smartly enough. So yeah, I had to
Yeah.
work.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that's your first job. And then what about the next one?
And then I think at one point I was a bartender, which
Really?
Which again, my dad was like, get a job. Because like, you know, if you don't know what you want to do with your life, like, go get a job. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be a bartender. And he was like, what? Same thing. And it was like that challenge, you know, like I felt like my dad wanted to challenge me and I wanted to challenge him.
Back.
So I was like, I can be a bartender. And I knew he didn't like it, but I was like, watch me. I'm going to be a bartender.
Yeah. And how do you teach yourself to be a bartender?
You don't, which is why I was a horrible bartender.
Really? Okay.
Like, first of all, my spelling sucks. So like, I couldn't even spell people's drinks. So I'd be like, what? And then like, I think he said, I don't know, whiskey and something. And I'd just be like, I think he said whiskey and water.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't a good bartender. But again, it was, I learned to adapt in many different, you know, work environments. And standing again for like 8 hours, which was
a lot of standing around.
A lot of standing.
Yeah. So
but again, it was
did
like,
you have fun with that job?
You know what? I think I did.
Yeah.
I think I did. At that age, when I think back, I think I really always did things that were fun. Whether or not they were good for me or not is another question, but I would always just do
Leading
it because I had fun. Yeah,
Okay.
I was quite fearless at that age.
I think it would be a very fun job especially if you are a people person.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a bartender job. But are you a people person?
I am. And that's how I became, that's how I entered the entertainment industry, was because I served a drink to, which I then found out was my neighbor, a very famous photographer called Russell Wong.
Oh.
If you look up his work, like he is probably one of the first Singaporeans that made it big outside of Singapore, because he shot Michael Jackson, Madonna, Cindy Crawford, and he's still a very active photographer.
Okay.
And I mentioned his name in every interview because he's really the person that gave me my break.
Yeah.
And I call him my fairy godfather because he's just amazing.
Yeah.
And I served him a drink. And he was like, first of all, you're very young. I don't know why you're in this bar.
Right.
Second of all, he was like, you have an interesting look. And you know, I got you should maybe be a model or an actress. And I thought, like, is there something like, may pokatik, you know?
Yeah.
But it turned out that,
But did he look like sincere and did he look like legit?
I mean, he did, but I was so young that I was like, I went home and the next thing I come home and I told my dad, I'm going to be a model and an actress. And my dad was like, you work in a bar now and now you're going to come home and be an actress. And he was like, absolutely not. And then I gave him the card and then I was pushing. I was like, I want to try something new. And, you know, and he looked up the name and it was legit.
Right.
And, he actually took pictures for me and he set me up with my management company. He got me my agents and he just got the whole ball rolling.
Wow.
Yeah. And he flew with me to Hong Kong.
Wow.
He told my dad, he's like, can you let me go with her to Hong Kong? Because I feel like there's a management company there that wants to meet her.
Wow.
And when I think about it, I was like, wow, I think my parents must have really put their guard down to let their daughter go and do this. Yeah. But he took me there. He introduced me to Jackie Chan's management company.
Wow.
And that's where I got my start. And so I'm like, working in a bar can take you places.
Oh, right. Yeah.
It really could, yeah.
So from Singapore to Hong Kong and then you got a job there. Yeah. What was your first job? Like as a model, as an actress.
Oh my God, I remember this. My first job was with Lee Ming. You know who is?
Oh,
yes.
I actually know
Leon
him.
Lai.
Yeah.
I think our generation would
He was
know him.
huge in the 90s.
Huge, yeah,
right,
huge.
Yeah.
And I remember it was even before I had moved to Hong Kong. My manager had gotten a call and said, tomorrow, go home tonight, pack your bag because we're going to Hong Kong. And I was like, oh, great, sure. Like, let's go. What's happening? And she was like, you have become the lead in one of Lee Ming's music videos. Back then, music videos were huge.
Yeah.
You know, like during my time, it was like music videos was like everything.
Right.
So I went home, I packed my bag, and again, another shock to my parents. I was like, I'm going to Hong Kong and I'm going to be acting with Lee Ming. And they were like, oh my goodness.
Did they know who Lee Ming was?
My dad does. My mom was like, who, what, where, when? Like, who's this person? And
he must have been amazed.
So at first, I think my dad was a bit like, are you really? What? And I flew to Hong Kong and my first job was my first kiss. And that was my first kiss was with Li Ming.
Okay. And how prepared were you for that?
I was so nervous.
Okay.
I was so nervous. But again, it was that fight in me that was like, if I screw this up, then I'm not gonna work again.
Okay.
So I was like, I really was like, okay, I gotta do a good job.
But you got a story to tell for life. Like my first kiss was with, you guess?
Li
Do you
Ming.
want to guess?
Yeah,
Wow.
like Li Ming. And
Yeah.
like, who, their first job is their first kiss. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Like, I actually held it together. So.
Okay.
And then from there, just working in Hong Kong, you know, I got to meet so many interesting people. It was Jackie Chan's longtime manager, Willie Chen, that was actually the one that kind of sorted me out in Hong Kong. And then I worked with Aaron Kwok. I don't know what his Kwok Fu Tung.
Guo Fu
Kwok Fu Tung, yeah.
Okay. Another big name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that was another like, whoa, what's happening? And then my dad started to realize that, hey, you know, she can pay her bills.
Yeah.
Because I had literally gone there with 2,000
Right.
Singapore dollars in my pocket and thought I was rich. Because back then, 2,000, it's like, wow, you know? So I'd gone there and I was like, 2,000, I got so much money. And then I realized, whoa, it's not that much. But I started making money. So
Yeah.
I ended up staying for like 7 years.
Yeah. It was like Li Ming and then Guo Fu Sheng. And then it was like, did you think at the time that, okay, I might be heading to Hollywood or something?
Yes, I did.
Yeah?
At one point, I was just like, oh my God, like this is great. Like, you know, I'm going to be a huge star. And then you realize the whole entertainment industry could be really tough.
Yeah.
Which it really was. But it's funny because I really did the 360 where I went to Hong Kong and then I also was in LA for a while. But I realized that there is a path as well. And I slowly started to realize, you know, because in the entertainment industry, you have dry periods where you don't work that much. And then you have periods where you make a lot of money. So, I mean, I think Hong Kong was a very good training ground for me.
Right.
But nothing was ever planned. And I think that's what's so good about being young. Because I feel like when you're older, especially a mom, you're always like, at 3 o'clock, my kid's going to take a nap.
Right.
And at 4:05, she's going to wake up. But like when you're young, you're like, byeเลย. Like,
Yeah.
let's go.
Right.
Like, go tamai, let's go, you know? So I was in Hong Kong and then I ended up getting a movie in Thailand. So I Lak Sai.
Yeah. So
which-
like say that sick
I mean,
nurses.
yeah, I wouldn't say it's like an Oscar-winning movie, but you know, it was surprisingly
It was pretty iconic, I would say.
exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, how did it get this iconic? Because at first I was like, what am I doing? And it was so bizarre because at that time I was with Jackie Chan's management, and my manager called me and was like, you got a call to do a Thai movie. And I was like, what? I was like, I've been there and I had come to Thailand and done the FHM award thing. And then I went back to Hong Kong.
Okay.
And I was like, to do a Thai movie, but what, I don't speak Thai. And they were like, yeah, they don't need you. They just need you to say one word. And I was like, one word. And then in Chinese, there's a saying, it's called Hua Ping. It means like flower vase. And it means
okay.
like ดูดี แต่ข้างในไม่มีอะไร
Okay. สวยใสแต่ไร้บทบาทประมาณนั้น
It's just like, yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
But like you have nothing to give. Like it's
Okay.
empty, you know?
Right.
So they were like, you have the Hua Ping role. And then
Oh.
at one point I was like, you know what? Nobody knows me in Thailand. Like I'm a nobody. So for me to be able to break into the market, I got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And so we came, and my manager came with me. And he was like, it's great. You don't have to go through your script because you just have one word to say. And I
Okay.
was here for a while.
Right.
And I can't remember what the word was, to be honest.
I was gonna ask. Yeah.
I think it was either ออกไป or I remember it was a scene where I was hanging upside down and then someone comes into the room and then I'm like, ออกไป or something like that. I don't remember. I think it was ออกไป, but I'm not sure. And I was like, I don't know where this is gonna go, but apparently it did pretty well. And I still bump into people where they're like,
Yeah.
so I like Sai, and I'm like, really? I'm
Yeah.
like, wow.
Yeah, it
Which
sticks
is
with
great
you.
for me.
Yes, right. And the movie was pretty much like gory and and like it's a horror, right?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was scary. I mean, I haven't watched the movie in like a long, like how many decades, but like I don't know if it was scary or if it was like quirky scary. I think it was like arty scary or indie maka. Where it was like, I don't know.
Did you watch the full film?
Yeah, but I haven't watched it in like I cannot watch myself.
Okay.
Like I just choose not to.
Really?
Yeah, I find it very hard to watch myself.
So you never watch yourself like in any of the work that you have done, like the
I mean, I
music
have
video?
to.
Okay.
But I can always find something where I'll be like, I could have said that better. Oh man, I missed the cue. I could have done that. And I'm like, but I've learned to let go, and that came with motherhood. But before that, I was like, I feel like I could do better. I'm like a perfectionist.
I see. So it's not like you find that cringy or anything, but you cannot help yourself from criticizing yourself.
Sometimes I find myself cringy, and I could just be like, oh, why did I say that? Or like, why did I do? But then I'm like, you know what? It's just who I am, and it's like, if people don't like what they see, then but this is me. So
we love you. We love you in
thank
anything
you.
that you've done. Right?
I'm not gonna read my comments after this.
Okay, and I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this at this moment might have seen like some of your work and they might have something to say. So please feel free to write what you want to say to Osa Wang
Be nice,
in the
please.
comment sections. Okay, all right. So let's do one word or more. So this is the segment where we get to know you more through your own words. All right.
Okay.
Okay. So can you give us one word that describes your 14-year-old self?
Oh, that's easy. Fearless.
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 But would you say you're pretty much still fearless now? No.
No.
Okay. So and what changed that?
I am like the complete opposite now. Now I'm
okay.
like super paranoid. I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? Like, is like the house gonna blow up or what's going on? Now I'm like the complete opposite. And I don't know why. Maybe it's age, but when I was young, I was just like I said, like I just didn't think twice.
Okay.
You know, just go.
Jump right into it.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
now I'm just a little bit like, I ask too many questions. Even when I off Japan, if I'm going out for dinner with my friends are like, oh, ปวดหัว I'm like, ไปไหน กี่โมง รถติดหรือเปล่า
I
Like,
need
is there
all
car
information.
park? Can I park my car there? Oh no, ไม่ไป yeah. Like, it's like คิดเยอะ
Yeah.
I talk too much. Like, I think too much.
Okay. So would that also describe your 44-year-old self?
Oh God.
Or
44
is there other
years old.
word that you think would be better?
Content.
Oh, okay. That's a great word.
Yeah, I think I'm
Content.
quite content at my age right now. Like it only took 44 years, but you know, I do feel like I'm definitely more self-aware of myself now than I was before. Because I was fearless before. I didn't really think too much. Now, like, yeah, maybe I kid yoga, I think too much, but I feel like I'm very happy with where I am today. You know, like I have a healthy child. I married the right person. My parents are well, you know, and I'm good. Like someone once said to me, which I think it's very true, because I went through a very hard year last year because my mom got sick. And I remember someone specifically sending me a meme, and they said, if you are fortunate to have both your parents well, I call my mom Mama and then Papa. If those two names can pop up on your phone, your child is healthy, you know, your family is intact, you're good. And I was like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'm pretty content.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty aware. I guess there's another word I could use. Self-aware right now.
Self-aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
Content. And I'm going to add another one, self-aware.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good word. That means you know yourself pretty well and you know what's good for you and what's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can like pick and choose what's
Yes.
right for you.
Exactly.
Right. But do you still miss your fearless self?
Yes, hell yeah, I do.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'm like, sometimes I wish I could just behave the way that I was on the way here. I was just like, man, RCA. I was like, whoa, I remember those days.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, whoa, I mean, I had a blast then too. You know, I had so much, I have lived my life. I am very content because at 14, I've done everything. Everything in my life right now, and I say life, my life hasn't ended yet.
Yeah, yeah.
But up until this point, I have done everything I've wanted to do.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing too. In order to feel content at the moment, you should have like no regret or
Exactly.
not too many regrets about what you have or have not done. Right? Yeah.
Because it kind of paves the way to where you are right now.
Yeah.
You know, if I sat here today and said, oh, I'm miserable, then maybe I would say it didn't really pave me in the right way. But I think that everything, even my bad decisions in my past, have really paved me the right way. So I always remind my parents sometimes, I'm like, you know what? I've never been to jail. I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, we're good.
Well, give us one thing motherhood taught you that no one warned you about.
Patience. Oh my God, patience.
Have you always been a patient person?
No, I'm
Okay.
absolutely the opposite. I am
Yeah.
very, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, which is why I made, so many crazy decisions, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you always hear people, oh, parenthood, it's tough, and you're just like, yeah, until you have a child. And you're like, patience, like that is my biggest learning. And I'm still learning because, there are people that advocate for gentle parenting.
Yeah.
And then there are people that don't. And I think I'm in the middle where I'm like, I can gentle parent for I can ask my daughter 3 times, like, why don't you put your shoes away? Why don't you put your shoes away? And then by the 4th, I'm like, why don't you put your shoes away? So it's patience, But I have to say that I've learned it a lot more now.
Yeah.
Because I've learned to just be like, just let it go. I have very bad OCD. My house looks like nobody lives in it.
Okay.
Because everything has to be
Yeah.
like
in their places.
I'm like, if the remote is not in the right way, I know someone's been in my room.
Whoa,
So I'm like, if
okay.
anybody tries to kamoy anything from my house, good luck. Because I would know who did it and I would know straight away.
Okay.
And having a child, as you know,
Yeah, you
they're
cannot
a
keep your
mess.
house.
So that's really taught me to let go. So
Yeah.
it's funny because my husband makes fun of me and he'll be like, is that bothering you right now? And he's like, are all those shoes out there from our guests bothering you? I'm like, yes. It's teached me how to just let go.
Yeah, you were totally a Monica from Friends.
Is she OCD?
Yeah, she's like, a neat freak.
Yes,
and everything
that is
has to
me.
be like the right angle and
My
in their
towels
places.
have to be hung the right way.
Wow.
Like it's a thing. My
Yeah.
toilet paper needs to be put a certain way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But now you learn how to
My
like
housekeeper has a
balance.
great job. In fact, she's
Yeah,
like,
I know.
because I'll be like, there's just dirt here. So I've learned to let go.
Yeah. Give us one most confusing word, Thai word, you've ever heard. Or that you try to say.
What I struggle with, and I still struggle with it today. And I've asked people the same question, and it just doesn't register. I have a problem with glai
Glai.
and gai, like far and close. Am I saying it right?
Glai, glai.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
so
that-
all the tone thing with
I just
the
don't
Thai
know which
language.
is which. Like far is
Glai.
glai and close is
Glai.
glai.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm not going to remember that.
Okay.
And then I also had a problem. I'll try to edit this version, but with the country Korea.
Okay.
Can you say the country Korea for me?
เกาหลี
But it could sound like something else too, right?
It could.
Right.
Yeah.
So I did an interview once.
Don't tell me.
I don't know if I should say it out loud, but I think people can understand what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
When they're like, so what have you been up to? And I said oh, I punk up. And then I said
Ja.
the wrong word.
Okay.
So it basically said, I just came back from being a prostitute. When basically what I was trying to say was, I just came back from Korea. And I remember the person behind the camera was like, and I was like, huh? But it's like, so now I just won't say the word. 'Cause
okay.
I'm so scared.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those two are a no-no for me. No. And I did just come back from Korea, by the way.
Okay.
And I still, when people ask me, I'm like, I just came back from Korea. It's like I have PTSD, I'm like, I cannot say that word. Yeah.
Wow, that's horrible.
It's
That's
horrible.
a bit horrible.
It's really horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But could be funny too.
It could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now I'm like, I can laugh about it. But back then I
Right.
was so serious, you know? Now
I think everybody has like at least one that word that would like just kill them.
yeah, mine are those two.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. How about one English word that you cannot stop saying?
All right.
All right.
Are you all right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to the next thing.
Okay.
All right. Cool. All right. Everything's all right.
Good.
Yeah. All right.
Let's move on to the next one, which is one Swedish word that your mother speaks to you all the time.
Min lilla ängel.
Which
My little
means?
angel.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's sweet. Can you say it again?
Min lilla ängel.
Wow, I
Yeah.
can never say that, but it sounds beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she says a lot of phrases that I can remember.
Wow, and you say the same thing to your daughter? Or you have different ones?
I have different ones. My daughter, she doesn't speak Swedish yet, but sometimes my mom will speak to her in Swedish.
Okay.
But she says a few phrases in Swedish. She can say
She picks up something
that we've taught her. Yeah, she can
Okay.
pick up a few here and there.
So what do you call her?
Kaya.
Okay.
So her name is Kaya.
Right. But
So
any
I call her
like,
Kaya.
Okay.
Yeah, or like
Any
people
pet
call her
name or-
Yaya. My nanny
Yaya.
calls her Yaya, but
Yaya.
we call her like Kaya. Yeah,
okay.
because that's her name.
That's her name.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Maybe we can talk about Kaya later too.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. One interesting Chinese or Singaporean slang you'd love to teach our audience today.
I have a lot.
Yeah. Give us one of your best ones.
I can say. Oh my god.
You need an attitude to go with
哇
it.
西北咸 Which is like, you always say that when someone is like, oh man, I wish that didn't happen. It's like, 哇老欸西北咸 It's like, oh 西北咸 I didn't make it to the bank in time. Like, yeah.
Like bummer.
Yeah, like
So-
bummer. 西北咸 And then I always remember one because back in way back when we were still using pagers. And I remember this vaguely because it's only the Singaporeans that would do that. If somebody, like an uncle, got like a beep beep on the pager, they would be like, wait, 谁打 pager? It's like, who hit the pager? And now it's like a joke amongst like younger people, or like they'll be like, 喂，谁打 pager?
所以打 pager. Oh, pager for pager.
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 Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I could go on. Like I have a whole like.
Yeah, it sounds fun too. Yeah, it sounds well because you know the Singlish as they call it, or the Singaporean the way of saying things is very unique.
I feel like that should be a language in itself because that's how I speak too with my dad.
Yeah.
Like I was sent to international school, but in all means I'm a full Singaporean and I was born in Singapore. So when I
Right.
speak with my dad,
You
I'm
switch
like,
to
yeah,
Singlish.
yes.
Wow.
I'm like, okay lah, I tell her to come later, okay? And then you just stay by your phone and you wait for phone call. But hey, but you gotta pick up the phone, So like that's how I like talk with my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I love it. I love the accent. Okay. How about one thing you never leave home without?
My phone.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because I'm paranoid. It's always like, gotta keep the phone.
Yeah. So you're pretty much glued to your phone like 24/7.
And it's such a bad habit.
What do you do on your phone?
Oh my god. I am a victim of the
Doom scrolling or just scrolling?
doom scrolling, whatever. And sometimes I just get so in that I'm like, oh, I have to pull myself out because like I have things to do, you know? Or I'll have a list
Oh, it's
of
been
things.
2 hours.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah.
But I have gotten better because now I've realized in my older self that it's probably not very good for you to do that. So I actually take my phone and I charge it at the end of my bedroom.
Oh.
So that if I feel that, an urge to be on my phone, I'm like, do I really want to get out of my bed and walk all the way there to be? No.
Am I that invested? Maybe not now.
Yes. So that's why I will charge it like where I know that I have to get up and not near my myself because of radiation.
Not within reach.
Yeah.
That would be too easy to
And I'm
fall
also
back
scared
into.
that it might. You ever see those things where like the phone blows up because it gets too hot?
Yes.
Like I'm scared I could be one of those because I'm
Okay.
always using the phone.
Right.
So as soon as my phone gets like heated, I'm like, I just put it away. But
Okay.
yeah, I need to spend less time on the phone. That I need to improve
Okay.
a lot.
One habit that keeps you sane in the busy life. How busy is your life right now?
I mean, there's always things to do. Like, I feel like as a mom and it's just someone that's working, you know, like there's always stuff to do. So I'm just going to say it's going to be two people. I think it would be my husband and my daughter. Yeah. That keep me, like, kind of center me.
Right.
Yeah. And tell me when I'm being like, by or, you know, like, no, but it's, you have to surround yourself around people that are going to tell you the truth.
Right.
About how you're being, if you're behaving badly or not, you know. So I would say it's like my daughter and my husband that center me through chaos of life.
Yeah. So your husband has no problem calling you out when you are acting insane or anything at all.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And then I call him out. I'm kidding. No, but
Yeah.
he's very patient, and like I feel like, you know, in a relationship you need to have one that's the opposite. I feel
True.
like too much of the same is never good. And he's a very patient man, you know.
Yeah.
That lives in a house filled with women. So, you know, he's a very strong man. So he's good. Yeah.
Good.
I married right.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Okay.
I just want to tell the world I married right.
Yes. Okay. One thing you would like to tell someone who's afraid to speak languages.
Oh, so much. Just do it. Like, just like ไม่ต้องกลัวเลย don't be scared. Like, justพูดมาเลย you know. Like, and even if it's like how I'm doing, you mix English with Thai, like that's how I started, you know. And if people laugh at you, laugh with them.
Okay.
Whether or not it's, you know, I've had so much, you know, backlash. I'm like, you didn't say that right. Or people are like, oh, she can't speak Thai properly and she's not Thai. And like, you know, at the beginning, it was very difficult for me because I wasn't Thai. And I remember I got put in some situations where people would make fun of me. And I'd be so like, oh, ไม่อยากทำ. I'm like, oh. And then I was just like, you know what? Like, I don't care anymore. Like, it took a while. It took a few disappointments for me to realize that just do it. So now I've just learned to laugh at myself. And that's the only way I learned, was just to laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
And you really have to surround yourself with people that speak the language. Because if you don't, then you're not gonna speak it. So you just, you know, you have to push yourself to be fearless. And it doesn't matter if you poop it. If you don't say it the right way, then move on from it and just, you know, learn from the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Like,
hang out with Oso Wang on her show.
yes.
Right? Yeah.
Come and see
Watch
me
her
and
show.
I'll teach you like how to say things right and wrong. You know, it's just like you gotta learn.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it has a lot to do with confidence, right? The way we feel about ourselves, the way we feel, the way we perceive ourselves
Yeah.
too. Yeah. Because of course we don't want to look bad in other people's eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot to get confidence too. Like I feel like it takes a few setbacks to understand confidence. Well,
Right.
for me anyway. I can't speak for everyone else, but the way that I was able to learn Thai or Chinese or even Swedish sometimes, I struggle sometimes, you know, if my mom can say a word and I'm like, I don't understand that. Is A, ask a lot of questions. B, just it's okay to have setbacks. People make fun of you. If you have a bad experience, you feel like you could have done a better job. I feel like this is what will then make you feel like, okay, you need to gain confidence from losing confidence. You know, it's like you got to lose some to understand along the way. So I feel like, yeah, setbacks will happen and that's what's going to make you grow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've heard about how you had to go through a difficult phase of your life and you were very little at the age of 11 you were diagnosed with dyslexia, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people do not understand this
it is.
condition, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? I think I could have been younger than 11 maybe. I don't really remember. But I remember I was in Dover Court. It was in school and I just remembered getting pulled out of class. I can't remember how many times a week or if it was every day I would get pulled out and I would sit with a one-on-one teacher. And at that point I thought, am I crazy or what? Because she would take words and salak would like change it like this or flip cards down and be like, what do you see? And I'd be like, am I crazy? Like, why is she asking me what I see? And then let's say she would put up a number and it was 1, 2, 3, 4. And then she'd shove it down. I would see 4, 3, 1, 2. And she would be like, no, this is, and I'd be like, how did I just, so that's when I started to realize, okay, I'm struggling. And I would struggle in my reading too, because it would be very, the big friendly giant went to the shop. It was not Mayflower.
Right.
Until this day, like I said earlier, my writing and reading sucks. Like, it's not good, but that is because of what I have, but you make it work.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're stupid.
No.
It just, some of the smartest people in the world have dyslexia.
Of course,
I
yeah.
think Bill Gates has it.
Yeah.
There's I can go through a list
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of like actors,
successful
actresses.
people. Yeah.
Yes, successful
And
people.
some people might not even know they have it.
Right.
And I was very grateful that I, at a very young age, was allowed the help at such a young age. Because if I didn't get diagnosed earlier, I would have gone through life going, what is wrong with me? And so now when I'm older and I make these mistakes, which I still do, then I understand. I'm like, okay, well, this is a condition that I have. And, you just learn to live with it.
Right.
A friend of mine called me once and she said, my daughter has been diagnosed with dyslexia and I feel so bad because I was literally screaming at her because she just wouldn't understand what I was telling her. And I was like, you can't do that. And I was like, because now you know what's wrong. Like, this is something that she's going to be having her whole life. It doesn't just go away. So, it's more of a struggle for her than it is for you. But you find a way to work around it.
Yeah, yeah.
But my numbers are flipped. I struggle mostly with numbers. So any kind of form filling or banking, I have to really check,
Right.
that I'm not transferring like 1 million baht when I'm supposed to transfer like 1,000 or something, adding a few zeros at the end. Yeah.
It is a form of learning difficulties. And, learning could be difficult in so many ways for so many people. And that is not, that is.
You learn to adjust.
Right.
Right? Because, for me, if there's a script, I prefer to get the script a lot earlier than other people because other people can just look at something and be like, okay, got it in my head. I'm not one of those. I wish I was because it would definitely speed things up for me. But I'm one of those where I'm like, if you send me a script where I'm supposed to play a certain person 12 hours before, then I'll be stressing out. So, but you learn how to manage it.
Right. Yeah. That's the key. You have to learn how to adjust.
Yes.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. Tell us about the time that you spend every Monday for a period of time to teach English to some samanin, like a novice monk at a temple. Yeah. How did that happen? And what was the experience like?
It's still quite amazing when I think about it because again, it was never planned. I was at a point of my life in Thailand where I was feeling a little bit lost. I was like, I'm not married, I don't have a kid yet. Do I want to go back to Singapore? I started to miss my family and I was at a kind of I can go here or I could go there, I'm not sure. And a friend of mine introduced me to this temple and I was like, what are we going to do? And she's like, we're going to go teach these small samanins to learn English. And she's like, you can totally do it. And first of all, I was like, I'm dyslexic. I don't know if
Am I qualified to teach anybody at all?
Example.
Right.
And she's like, well, no, just go try. They're not going to be learning SAT English or anything.
Yeah, so it's not textbook thing.
No, it's they're learning basic English. Okay. And I was like, I think that I must be able to do. So it was also because I fear English, right? Reading and writing and stuff like that. So it was also a challenge for me where I'm just okay, I got to do this.
Yeah.
And so we went and we would spend, I think it was 5 or 6 hours a day every Monday teaching. And it was the most fulfilling thing that I could definitely put down in my book of things I've done in my life. It was really, because it was unplanned. It was completely selfless. You know, and this industry, entertainment industry, is very selfish. You know, so it was very grounding for me to do something like that and just again remind myself like how good I have it too, you know? And how good these kids are too. Because it's funny, I would teach them English, but they would teach me how to meditate. Lang Samathit. And
right.
like you could see that they're so young, but they can let things go. And I'm 44 sometimes and I'm like, I can't let things go, you know? And I was like, wow, it's a real art for, you know, kids that age to just be so calm and let things go. And at that point in my life, I was so like, oh, like I had 100 thoughts and I was like, these kids can let things go. And like, I'm way older than them. I should have more self-control, you know? So it was like a big learning thing for me too. And I was like, the more I come here, the more aware I am for myself too, that really all the things I'm worrying about is like really nothing. So it was like a both way thing, but it was just, it became a thing that every Monday I would go, and I still go back to that temple today.
Wow.
I got married in that temple.
Really?
My
wow.
My pra ajan, he's still there. I still go see him. He married me and my husband, and and I go back there every once in a while. And I just went back like a few months ago where I was giving lunch to the Samanins again.
Okay.
And I saw my old students, you know. So I go back quite a bit. My birthday, you know, they have a cake for me, and I was like, wow, like this is so amazing. Like I want to cry when I like talk about it. Like it's really like it's something, you know.
So how young were they? The Samanin?
They were like, I would say 6, 7. Some of them were like 8 or 9.
Oh, okay.
There's like different ages in a class depending, because they're all new at learning English.
Right.
So it was quite hard to put them in a.
And what did you do in class? Like more like the conversational
or like we would play English games, like what words would match what words.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, usually it would be like pra ajan that would set up the schedule, and then he would brief us, and then we would follow. But I have like a lot of history in this temple. And the crazy thing is it doesn't have to be like a dala to go. Like anybody can volunteer. Like. And I say this meaning like anybody that's even watching this channel, if you want to go and you want to teach them English, you can go to the that I go to, and you could teach English as long as you don't have to be a professor in English. Like you could go, you know, like anybody could go and teach them, and they're always welcome to volunteer.
So the name of the temple is Wat Thamma Mongkol, which is in Bangkok.
Yes, Sukhumvit 101. Sukhumvit 101. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you don't even have to be Thai. You can be a foreigner too if you want to go do it, you know? And you can just walk in and just be like, I would like to help teach English. And they would take you in with like open arms.
Wow.
And we donate like office chairs from my husband's old office, you know, like we would give. There's like a lot you can do, especially in a place like Thailand. I feel like there's so much you can do. People in Singapore, let me tell you, are okay. Like in Singapore, there's I think less, and I mean this in the best way possible. There's less charity work to do in Singapore when it comes to, you know, certain things. But in Thailand, I feel like there's just so much more you can do to help people in the community. Singapore, people are always taken care of, you know, and Singapore is a little bit more structured where everyone has help. But I feel like in countries like Thailand or, you know, anywhere that you feel like you could give hands to, like it just takes away also the stress from like the daily chaos of life.
Yeah, you can help out and you can learn something also. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and preach and say like, oh, I am this Mother Teresa and I do all charity. Look, that's not who I am either. But I'm just saying that, you know, I pick and choose as well, like who I want to help out. And I chose that what, and, you know, I've just had so many good experiences. So I just tend to help them out.
That's very nice. That's so great. Yeah. Okay. You've mentioned Singapore and your family still in Singapore too. Your dad, your family owns a business which is like the baking good supply, right? Baking supply, right? Okay. does that make you want to like do some business to like create your own business, or are you thinking maybe someday I want to go back and take over my family business or something like
No.
that? No. Okay.
I don't think my family would want me to like go into the office. I think they would get a shock.
But you gave them so many shots before.
I know, right? Why not just throw in
But
another
now
one
this
and be
kind of
like,
shock.
I have come to help today. But I mean, I'm super, super proud of my family. I claim zero credit for their hard work because it was built by my great grandfather. The business is called Pun Huat. And what they do is they basically they make the basic ingredients to make food, like baking goods especially. So, they have their own brand, and then they supply outside of Singapore as well. They have their own shops. So it's funny because when I was a kid, I didn't quite understand the magnitude of my family business until I got older. But I would always, if I was sitting at Starbucks, I would see like our family truck pull up and they would be unloading like the milk powder. And I was like, oh. But now when I'm like older, I'm like, wow, I remember going into like my friend's kitchen and I would always see like there's like a red man. That's like the logo, a red man. And I was like, that now when I'm older and I'm trying to do business myself, I'm like, wow, they did good, like I'm very, very proud of it.
It's pretty huge, actually. And our team actually just found a video where the family business got mentioned in the parliament by the minister, Lawrence Wong.
Prime Minister, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I give them all credit for like they definitely paved the way for our future. Which is, a lot of our family members are still working there. A part of it has been sold already, but a part of our family is still working there. And I think what it did was, going back to my dad never wanted to spoil me. He was very like, oh, so you want money? Go find a job, because he was very adamant about, I am not going to give you money to spoil you, but I will give you love to spoil you. So my parents are very like, they tell till this day, my parents are like, we love you. And I'm like, thank you. Like, and I love hearing that, because that's how I got spoiled. And of course I would have wanted my dad to be like, yeah, I'll buy you 10 Birkins. But, my dad was like, my dad was very much like, if you want something, then you should try to pay for it yourself. And, and there were moments sometimes where if I really wanted something, my dad, it would have to be like, I would have to pitch the idea to my dad.
Really?
When like I'm having a business and
do the presentation.
Yes.
And tell us what you want to do.
This is why I would like this. And sometimes it would be so ridiculous because I remember my dad's like, I'm never buying you materialistic stuff. But as a child, you always kind of want to push in like, oh, I want this Barbie house, or I want this, and I would come with these pitches of like, why you should buy me a Barbie house, and at a very young age, and he would be like, why do you need it? And because my friends have it. No, like why do you need it? And it would like towards the end, my grandfather bought me the Barbie house, right? Because my dad was like, no, but I would have to pitch, and I still have to pitch ideas to him sometimes.
Wow. Okay.
Like even if I'm like, what do you think of? He's like, why? Like, and it's a thing that I think has been instilled since a very young age. Like, I will spoil you with good education, with a good roof over your head, make sure you eat, but I am definitely not spoiling you with buying you this, that, or that. So even like my first car, I had to buy myself with my own money. And this is when the moment where I kind of felt, I was like, yeah, because my dad was like, no, you buy your own car. And I remember I got a big paycheck once. And I called my dad because my dad would help me manage my money because otherwise it would be gone. And I called my dad and I said, am I ready to buy my car? At the time, I wanted to buy a Mercedes CLK. That was like a big thing, right? And not brand new, by the way. It was secondhand because my dad was like, you're not buying a brand new car. And then he looked at my bank account. He's like, you're ready. And I'm like, and I went. My dad flew down with my mom. They came with me to go pick up the car, and I paid for the car in cash.
Wow.
And my dad was like, I'm not paying a cent for this car. Like, because I tried, I'm like, come on, help me out. Pay for half, like 50-50. No, and I paid for it. And then towards the end, yes, I blew through a lot of my money. But like, these are one of the moments that I remember clearly that I was like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, I definitely wasn't spoiled.
And was that kind of parenting philosophy passed on to your daughter and how you raised her?
Definitely.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. Like, I'm definitely the police of the house. My husband's a bit more chill, He's just like, oh, never mind. Like, she doesn't have to pick up the plate. Okay. And I'm like, no, she's picking up the plate.
So you're running a pretty tight ship?
Yes. And she has to pitch me if she wants it. No, I'm kidding.
What is with the pitching in this family?
Maybe in the future, I'm going to ask her, why do you need it? Maybe, I don't know. But right now, I'm very, very sure that when you're done with dinner, she takes her plate and she puts it in the sink herself. And she has to tell the nanny, thank you for the food. I make it very clear that, the nanny cannot be doing everything for her. And she just has to clean up after herself too. So yeah, maybe I'm turning out like my dad in every good way.
In the best way, yeah.
Yeah. But it did. The family business basically taught us, and I hope my other relatives too, that we had to work too. We couldn't just sit back and chill.
Would you ever spoil her with anything at all? Like the way you sometimes want your dad to spoil you?
I have become quite like how my parents have become in the way that like I will spoil you with love, but like with too many toys and stuff like that, I'm still very particular with them. Like I just don't want too many toys. Even on her birthday, some of my friends will be like, what can we buy her? And I'm like, a book. They're like, don't you want to give your kid toys? And I'm like, look, I'm not taking toys away from my kid. I just think she has too many. So like no toys. And I'm just like books, But every now and then it's fine. But my kids, my friends think I'm horrible because I'm like, no toys. Can't believe that you're saying that. She's fine. She's fine.
But you looks like a fun mom too.
I mean, I think I'm pretty
Are you a fun mom?
I think I'm pretty fun. I could be a bit uptight, but I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like I think I can learn to let things go sometimes. Life doesn't stop just because you have a child.
Yeah.
And that's something that I try to tell myself every time.
So besides being a mom these days, what else do you do for yourself?
Now I put aside a lot more time for myself because, if mom's happy, the whole family is happy. So I put aside more time. I created my podcast where I interview mothers that I find very interesting. I interview anyone that I think is interesting. I've also built my YouTube channel. Because the times have changed now. Everything's gone. Like I'm in a time where it was like movie and TV time, and now everything's changed to like social media and everything. So I've had to learn that.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to Singapore next week to shoot a show that I've been shooting for 7 seasons now. Yeah. It's called Supermodel Me.
Right.
Which is kind of like, have you seen that Korean show Single Infernal? Except it's about models.
Right.
And then me and P. Cindy and somebody else are actually sitting there commentating. So this is like the 7th season that I've done now. So life goes on, even without a child.
So you've talked openly about egg freezing. So can you tell us why you're advocating for it?
Egg freezing is something that at the time was not an option for me in Singapore. So I'm definitely one of those that went through IVF, and I had to do it in Thailand. So I remember when I was going through IVF, I was like, wait, I'm a Singaporean. Why can I not do it at home? Because I was thinking I'm just going to go. I was single at the time. So I was like, if I go and freeze my eggs, I want to do it. And I want to make sure that my mom is there. I didn't have anyone. I had my parents, right? So I was like, I'm going to go back to Singapore and do it. And then I realized that these options did not apply for me. So I was like, well, this is interesting. And then I ended up doing it in Thailand, and I shot a YouTube about it, a video, which is, it's not online anymore, but I shot a YouTube video, and then it got released, and it was all about my journey on IVF and about me essentially saying that, I wish that it would be available as a Singaporean in Singapore. And somebody from, I guess, parliament or called my dad and was like, I just saw a YouTube video of your daughter.
Okay.
And he's like, oh no. Advocating for egg freezing. And this guy, his name is Professor PC Wong. He's a very strong advocate in Singapore for egg freezing, and he's also a very high in position gynecologist. So me and him actually, he's a friend of my dad's. We got together and we started advocating that Singapore should allow for women to freeze their eggs. And this was a long battle. Like, it took a few years. We held seminars. I did interviews about it.
Because by law, it does not.
At that, you had to be married to do it in Singapore.
Oh, okay.
To freeze your eggs.
So it's not optional for a single individual.
No, if you're a single female in Singapore, you weren't able to do it.
Okay.
And then, so we were advocating for many, many years, and then finally the government gave in, and they actually allowed egg freezing for
Wow.
single women, only up until a certain age. So I have to go. I think it's like they cut it off at 41 or 42, which I think honestly. I mean, I was 39 when I gave birth. I was 39 when I was pregnant. I was 40 when I gave birth. So I would like to see that extended, possibly. And actually, I feel like there should not be a limit unless the doctor tells you it's dangerous. I feel like that should be up to personal preference and your doctor to say, okay, it's too dangerous. So I would like to see that there should not be a limit to it, but I am grateful for the step that now they allow it up until a certain age. So I feel like there have to be baby steps towards this. So I started advocating against it, and I went pretty strong with that.
Yeah.
And I know there were a few discussions where, my family or my dad was like, do we need to consult with a lawyer? Because, I'm a bit worried that might end up in jail or something. And I was like, no, I'm not going against my government. Like, I just want to make things clear. I'm not going against them, but I just simply want to work with them. And I'm just telling my side of the story as a Singaporean woman, and I just want to be heard. I'm not going against. Like, I'm very appreciative of Singapore. Like, I'm a Singaporean. I love Singapore. Some people might say it's a little bit boring, but frankly, I feel like it's the most safe country on earth, and I love my country, and I'm not going against the government. So I was very appreciative that the government allowed me to speak and that it changed. And when it did change, the flooding of messages I got from people was like, thank you. And I was like, wow, they listened.
Yeah.
My dad was like, but it worked,
But I think they're proud of you. I think they're proud of you.
I mean, I was proud of myself, to be
putting up
honest.
your fight
I was pretty proud of myself. And I don't say that a lot because I'm always like, criticizing something. But at that moment, I was like, I'm proud of myself that I held to my guns and I was like, we should push this. Yeah.
Yeah. So what else do you want to be proud of yourself about?
I mean, now so many things. Like I said, my life is not over yet, but I just feel like I wake up every day with my parents being alive. And I feel like I've done everything that I've wanted to do in life. I've never stopped myself. I'm grateful for the mistakes as well. And like, I feel, I'm grateful for just being here today. And just being able to I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I'm grateful up until this point. So. Yeah.
Same here. I'm grateful that you're here with us today.
I mean, it's fun, right?
It was such a great talk.
If you can go to work every day and do this and have fun doing it, I feel like that's some kind of satisfaction right there.
Right.
Like we're winning in life.
Yeah. I'm very happy. I'm very content. That's a good word from you that I think it's a great feeling that we could have, like content. Of what we have right now.
It's really hard to be content. So when you have that feeling, because it comes and goes, then you should just take in the moment and just be like, okay, at this moment right now, I feel content. Yeah.
Please give us at least one word that you think is the best word that you like the most. Your community or something.
Like a motto or like a...
it could be a word, it could be a phrase, could be a motto, a quote.
I think mine is just... I mean, I've already said it. It's like, just let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. Or just move on. It sounds so simple, but it's so hard to do. It is such a hard thing to do. Or I'm also a victim of saying, things could be worse. And it's true because sometimes I'm like, things could be worse, you know? Like it's for me, it's like I have very, very simple things in my head sometimes where I just have to position myself. And most of it's like, it could be worse. Or like, move on. Just move on from it.
I love those. Thank you so much for
Simple.
coming. And I love this afternoon.
Thank you. So I
Spending
had
time
so
with
much
you.
fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
ขอบคุณค่ะ
ขอบคุณครับ